question. But it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. It is a consummation devoutly to be wished. Die, to sleep, a chance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity out of the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of disprized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin. Who would fathers bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have, than fly to others that we know not of. Thus, conscience doth make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment, with this regard, their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action. Soft you now, with fair Ophelia.
So, let's now enter the ghost into Hamlet's life now. So, when the ghost first appears, he wants Hamlet to seek revenge on Claudius for murdering him. He claims he is Hamlet's father. So, pretty much, this breaks all Hamlet's attempts at the return to normalcy. Since the ghost wants Hamlet to commit this act of murder, Hamlet does see the evil in just straight killing Claudius. But since this ghost has this brainwashing power over Hamlet, Hamlet can't go against what the ghost wants him to do. So pretty much this makes Hamlet, his hate for Claudius. He hates Claudius for marrying his mother. But Hamlet would have never committed his hate towards Claudius if it wasn't for the ghost prompting him to commit this hate towards his uncle Claudius. So let's explore into... Alright, so now Hamlet wants to confront the truth into avenging his father's death. But in confronting this truth, he wants to commit the same act in which he seeks revenge. So he don't want to full out murder Claudius, but he does want to commit some act that can show Claudius what he did during the murder of his father. So pretty much his revenge is trying to prove that Claudius is a bad person. So and then as soon as he accuses him, he's going to commit the act from his revenge. So, but anyways, let's look at the ghost. Let's bring out two claims the ghost does, obvious ones. He claims to be Hamlet's father, which is pretty important because it makes Hamlet pretty much listen to the ghost. And then he claims that he killed Claudius, which is just another thing that proves Hamlet's revengeful attitude towards Claudius. So it just makes Hamlet's hate towards Claudius even more effectful. And also, the ghost claims to be doomed and suffer in sulphurous and tormenting flames until the foul crimes in his days of nature are burnt and purged away. So it kind of sounds a little like purgatory a little bit. The ghost will not rise. He will not rise to where he should be until the foul crimes that have been committed in his days of his life have been settled, in which would be Claudius. Claudius's crimes commit this act to why the ghost will stay in pretty much limbo until he hopes his person, savior, Hamlet, will fulfill these wishes from the ghost. Okay, so now we're going to conflict a little bit with the idea of purgatory. So, one thing, purgatorial spirits don't ask people to commit murder. So that is one thing that kind of scratches your head of this idea of purgatory involved in this story of Hamlet. And then Protestants don't believe in the doctrine of purgatory, so it's still kind of a little weary on whether this ghost is actually a purgatorial spirit or not. And then we know that Denmark is a Protestant nation, so we still don't really know whether this ghost is really there for Hamlet or not. And Hamlet, he can't really be too sure about this ghost, so he really will not commit his act until he actually knows the truth. So, behind the idea that this ghost is stuck in purgatory, really, I don't know. It kind of raises the question whether if this ghost is actually real, whether he is an evil ghost or a ghost wanting to be released from his chains so he can rise up and go to heaven. So we don't really know what this ghost really is or isn't. So, but anyways, well, that's an idea, but it's kind of a little bit of a questionable idea. But it's out there. Whoever wants to use it, they can use it. So, anyways, let's move on to the next idea. So now we're going to talk about how this ghost can influence Hamlet because of it being a figment of his imagination. So first of all, they have things in common, like they talk alike. So, like when they talk about Gertrude, it's her unnatural and incestuous relationship with Claudius. So they have these both think of an unnatural relationship with Claudius and Gertrude. And then they look alike because at one point in the story, Ophelia labels Hamlet as looking ghostly pale and as being loosed out of hell. So you can kind of get the gist of Hamlet can have this idea that he's just going nuts. He's just going crazy. So, now he's hallucinating, maybe having a couple of delusions, maybe becoming a schizophrenic. Who knows? But anyways, also what's kind of weird is he's the only one who actually has dialogue with the ghost. So it was kind of like he's kind of talking to himself. And then, like, there's a quote in the thing that says, "My father, methinks I see me father in my mind's eye." I probably said that wrong, but I got it pretty close. It kind of says he says his mind. So he's like his mind, and then he's talking about an eye he sees out of his mind. So it's kind of like a visual hallucination he sees of his father, and then he's hearing auditory hallucinations from the spirits, which there could be nothing even there. But there is kind of one thing. Horatio does see the ghost, but he doesn't talk to it. There could be maybe something going on with that, or maybe not, but it's an interesting topic, but we'll just see what this ghost really is, if it's a part of Hamlet's imagination, or it's an actual spirit claiming to be Hamlet's father, or actually a ghost seeking evil actions, which all spirits were claimed to be back in Shakespeare's time. So let's just take a look a little more at this. This ghost, basically, you know the impact of the ghost, because real or not, he makes Hamlet go insane pretty much. It's this memory of his father. He can't get out of his mind that his father is dead. He had so much respect for his father, he just can't forget his father. So, he kind of could mess around with his mind because of this ghost wants Hamlet to commit murder on Claudius. Whether the ghost is a figment of his imagination, showing his hate towards Claudius for two things: apparently killing his father and marrying his mother. So that it's two reasons why Hamlet would hate Claudius. Another thing, it could be actually a real purgatorial spirit. His father can't be free until the unnatural murder is set free, so he can get released from his chains, so he can be off into heaven. So we need to get Claudius out of there, pretty much. Or it could just be an evil spirit just claiming to be Hamlet's father, and it wants bad things to happen. So this whole thing is like Hamlet can't really be too certain on this ghost. It kind of shows the uncertainty of ghosts in Shakespeare's time, because you couldn't if you seen a ghost, you didn't know its intentions. It could be just an evil spirit to wreak havoc, so you can't trust them. So a quote that kind of influences the revenge a little bit of Hamlet is so art thou to revenge, show to when here, or something like that. And then, so to revenge the most foul and unnatural murder, was the quote. So basically, this gives Hamlet the intention to go out and try to accuse Claudius's guilt before he actually murders Claudius. So, in a way, he does this. He uses the play, The Murder of Gonzago, to try to prove Claudius's guilt of killing his father. So this is just one thing. It shows his obsession with this whole ghost in Claudius deal. So basically he goes through all these steps to try to prove Claudius is guilty of killing his father. So let's just explore a little bit more. Okay, another thing about this ghost is he does not support murder, but he wants Hamlet to commit murder. So this is kind of like, could it be a ghost after Hamlet? Or could it just be this imagination that's haunting Hamlet? It could be the, we'll go to Freud here. It could be his id talking. His id says, "Deal with your uncle. We must kill this man for marrying your mother." So, yeah. This could be a little Freud here. Because Hamlet, maybe he just had problems in his family, so now he just can't control his emotions. So now his id is taking over. So now he wants to try to commit crap, I'm losing the tongue of my word. He wants to prove Claudius guilty of murder. So, another thing about the ghost is he kind of foreshadows what Hamlet is going to do. And he also talks about, like, Claudius and then his mother and stuff. So, wouldn't this be stuff Hamlet's already thinking about? And then, of course, the foreshadowing. How's this ghost actually know what Hamlet's going to do if Hamlet's not thinking about it? So this is just another thing on why this ghost is part of his imagination. And I know other characters seen this ghost too. But if you remember the quote about Ophelia saying about how he was ghostly pale in that. And when they actually seen this ghost, Hamlet was not with them. But when Hamlet is with them, he walks into a isolated place with the ghost. So they might have seen Hamlet just wandering around while they were on guard. And then they might have seen something, and then Hamlet followed it. And then this is where all his craziness comes in. So this is, we know that it's there, like, it's got, this ghost is definitely going to develop Hamlet throughout the story. So let's do a discussion on this now, on how this ghost actually impacts Hamlet, his mental state. Because the ghost is seeming more as part of his imagination now. So, now let's just discuss the question here is how the ghost is significant to the plot and also significant to the development of Hamlet. So, let's just discuss now. I mean, this is no research, this is just a discussion. So, alright. So, how is the ghost significant to the plot now? The ghost pretty much represents the mysteries of ghosts back in Shakespeare's time. No one really knew whether ghosts were real, maybe, whether they had evil intentions, or if they were just people who wanted to get their last things done on earth before they go up to heaven. So there was a kind of uncertainty about how the ghosts would be on earth. They were maybe I don't know, cahoots with Satan or something. They were mostly evil spirits, but the people back in Shakespeare's time believed in these ghosts, but they also had the evil factors. So this story kind of represents that uncertainty factor that was related to the ghosts in Shakespeare's time. That's one reason why Shakespeare plays the ghosts. He wanted to show people the uncertainty of the ghosts back around in this time. That's why Hamlet don't trust the ghost, but he actually is willing to determine whether this ghost is actually telling the truth about Claudius killing his father or not. So, and then it brings me on to the next point on how the ghost develops Hamlet's character, and how he develops Hamlet's character because he is this influencing factor that just makes Hamlet go from this depressed character to this more insane character he becomes later in the story, and trying to prove that Claudius is guilty of murdering his father. So this ghost wants him to murder him with the uncertainty factor. Hamlet doesn't go full outright killing Claudius, so he goes throughout the story. That's why he creates that play, so he can try to prove Claudius's guilt, and then when he can, it goes through that all kinds of stuff, and then he kills Polonius through the curtains, and thinking he was Claudius, but he wasn't, and then goes all the way through, and then at the end of the story, he gets in the battle with Laertes, and he goes and kills Claudius. And then this story ends as Hamlet becoming a tragic hero, because he succeeds in the revenge for apparently the ghost, which is his father. But he does, if Claudius did kill his father, he did avenge his father. So, but everyone dies, which is tragic. Gertrude dies, those one people die. I think Horatio stays alive, but this just all ends up being tragic. The ghost, we actually don't really know what happens to the ghost after the story. Pretty much everyone just dies, and then there you go. But so now we know that the ghost is very significant to the development of Hamlet's character, because he just progresses. He has that progressing madness. He just goes all the way to the top, and then here, let's say, like, he's going all the way up to the top, so he's just this is him trying to prove Claudius's guilt. At the top is when he actually finds out Claudius is his guilt, and then when you're going down, you can tell he starts his killing, and then all his even more madness, and then the resolution at the end where he kills Claudius, and then he dies, and then becoming the tragic hero that becomes Hamlet. So, alright, so that is kind of basically it. But the important thing is the uncertainty of ghosts. Main theme. You can't be certain of these factors that you don't know about. So, like, alright, so I'm certain I can trust my little chihuahua, so I am certain that she tells me the truth all the time. And then, the story just tells you, make sure you're 100% certain about things to trust something. So, alright, that's basically it for the presentation.
Hey, knock on wood. Can we go thrift shopping?
What?
I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a come up. This is being awesome.
Nah, walk into the club like, what up? I got a big. I'm just pumped. I bought some from a thrift shop. Ice on the fringe is so damn frosty. The people like,
Damn, that's a cold ass honky.
rolling in hella deep, headed to the mezzanine. Dressed in all pink, set my gator shoes. Those are green, draped in a leopard mink. Girl standing next to me. Probably should've washed this. Smells like R. Kelly sheets. But it was 99 cents. Copping it, washing it. About to go and get some compliments. Passing up on those moccasins. Someone else has been walking in. Bummy and grudgy fucking man. I am stunting and flossing and saving my money. And I'm hella happy that's a bargain. I'ma take your grandpa style. I'ma take your grandpa style. No, for real. Ask your grandpa. Can I have his hand-me-down? Velour jumpsuit and some house slippers. Dookie brown leather jacket that I found. Dig it. They had a broken keyboard. I bought a broken keyboard. I bought a ski blanket. Then I bought a kneeboard. Hello, my ace man, my mellow. John Wayne ain't got nothing on my fringe game, hell no. I could take some pro wings, make them cool, sell those. The sneakerheads will be like, he got the Velcro.
I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a come up. This is being awesome. I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a come up. This is being awesome.
What she know about rocking the wolf on your noggin? What she knowin' about wearing a fur fox skin? I'm digging, I'm searching right through that luggage. One man's trash, that's another man's come up. Thank your granddad for donating that plaid button up shirt. Cause right now I'm up in her skirt. I'm at the Goodwill, you can find me in the I'm not stuck on searching in the section. Your grandma, your auntie, your mama, your mammy. I'll take those flannel zebra jammies secondhand and rock that. Whoa. The built-in onesie with the socks on them. Whoa. I hit the party and they stop in that. Whoa. They be like, oh, that Gucci, that's hella tight. I'm like, yo, that's $50 for a t-shirt. Limited edition, let's do some simple edition. $50 for a t-shirt, that's just some ignorant. I call that getting swindled and pimped. I call that getting tricked by business. That shirt's hella dope. And having the same one as 6 other people in this club is a hella don't. Peep gang, come take a look through my telescope. Tryna get girls from a brand, man, you hella won't. Man, you hella won't.
Goodwill. Poppin' tags. Yeah.
I'm gonna